So I was pretty close to not doing a review for this movie at all. I've seen the original, but I don't have a huge connection with it. It's not something I watched all the time as a kid. Plus, I'm a grown-ass man, and sometimes it doesn't feel right for me to critique something that is intended for children. But then I thought, what kind of movie reviewer would I be if I skipped every movie that I didn't have interest in? Plus, I have a slogan to live up to, so at the risk of offending Brie Larson, let's discuss.
It wasn't made for him.
I watch so you don't have to.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The Little Mermaid 2023 is a modern reimagining of the 1989 animated classic of the same name. It follows Ariel, the youngest of King Triton's daughters, who has a thirst for adventure. She longs to find out more about the world beyond the sea, and makes a deal with an evil sea witch to experience life on land.
Big mistake.
I've been hard on these Disney live-action remakes in the past, and rightfully so. That's because they typically come off as very lazy and very lifeless to me, and just another excuse for them to not write an original story. And to me, The Little Mermaid is just that. It's a movie we've seen before, and it's a movie we've seen done better.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
The issue is that every time Disney puts out another $250 million to recreate a movie that basically already exists, that can't help but feel like a waste of time and money. The original still exists. You really aren't doing anything new or groundbreaking with this film, so why bother? I know, the excuse is so they can introduce this story to a new generation, which I still think is a load of BS, but we'll move on.
Bullshit.
To me, it's nothing but deflection. Another reason for apologists to come to Disney's defense. And they will always find new ways to discredit people like me who speak out against them. It's just the nature of the beast at this point, but when it comes right down to it, as much as I tried to give this movie the benefit of the doubt and go into it with an open mind, it's up to the movie to wow me, to show me something I've never seen before, and to me, it just failed at doing that. The best parts of this movie are the parts that feel most similar to the original.
That makes sense.
That's because nostalgia, disguised as a reimagining, is all this movie really has going for it. When you hear some of those original songs again, and they are still great, the reality is that they would be great no matter who is singing them because they're great songs. It really has nothing to do with how they are presented in this new version of the film. The first 45 minutes or so of the movie feel very familiar, very safe, and the parts that feel the most familiar are the best parts.
No.
Doesn't say much for the moments they deviate from the source material, now does it? I'd say it's about when Ariel makes the deal and gets her legs. That's where the movie starts to drag a lot, and a lot of these issues start to come in. I'm just gonna say it, this movie is way too long. Everything that needed to be said was said in a 90-minute animated film in 1989. Why they felt the need to stretch it out to 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'll never understand.
It's been 84 years.
If the core audience is who they say it is, and should be, in children, it just seems like a questionable creative decision to prolong the story. Also, it's been talked about extensively how many changes have been made to the original story in order for it to better fit into more modern ideologies. Everything from changing the lyrics of Kiss the Girl to promote consent, to kind of downplaying the romance between Ariel and Eric, and changing the stipulations of the spell-breaking kiss. Let's be honest, all of this was done to appease adults who have way too much time on their hands. Kids do not care about this shit and probably wouldn't even notice it. I know I didn't notice it as a kid, so you can take that for what it is. It's things like that that lead me to believe that this whole movie exists to appease sensitive adults. Sensitive adults who think about things way too much.
Stop being a come on.
I already mentioned the changes to Kiss the Girl. Well, in addition to changes to the lyrics, the song also lacks any kind of real emotion. You could almost tell how it was presented that the people involved would have rather just cut the song out completely. And to me, it's pretty unfortunate considering it is one of the most popular songs in the film. They also added brand new songs, with the most unfortunate one being Scuttlebutt, a rap performed by Awkwafina, who plays Scuttle, by the way.
I will fumigate your asshole.
And I wish I was kidding about that, but I'm not, sadly. And I ask the question once again, how does Awkwafina continue to get roles in Hollywood, when to me she really doesn't bring much to the table? Furthermore, it's almost arrogant for them to think an abomination of a song like this would improve this story, especially considering they already had great music to begin with, and they chose to alter it. Never change, Disney. Never change.
You're pathetically predictable.
Awkwafina aside, I thought all the casting choices were actually pretty decent. Javier Bardem as King Triton makes sense. Melissa McCarthy as Ursula also made sense. Now there's some uneven performances that come along with that, especially from McCarthy, who goes a bit off the rails in some of her scenes. But from the looks of things, I don't think the actors had a really tight script to work from, so we might have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
You feel that steam heat coming? That's from my undercarriage.
Okay. A lot of the talk around this movie has revolved around Halle Bailey as Ariel. And if I'm being honest, I think she did fine in the role. She has a beautiful singing voice, there's no doubt about that. And I'd love to see her in something that better showcases her acting abilities. But there are moments in The Little Mermaid where to me, she just doesn't feel like Ariel. The energy was just off at times, and to be fair, that may not be all her fault.
That's racist.
Another thing I thought about a lot while watching this was the visual effects. They did the Lion King remake thing where they take cartoon animals and try to make them as realistic as they possibly can. But when they do that, it kind of removes all the emotion coming from those characters, and it makes the movie feel a lot less fantastical, which leads me to my next point, and that being, why is this movie so goddamn dark?
I can say!
I understand that it's at the bottom of the ocean and we're going for realism a little bit here, but it is a very strange creative choice when the original movie was so colorful and vibrant. It just felt like all the imagination and wonder had been ripped out of the film. Also, it needs to be said, and it may not be fair to make this comparison, but I'm going to do it anyway. When you go from watching the underwater scenes in Avatar to watching the underwater scenes in The Little Mermaid, there is a massive dip in quality.
This is whack! I can't get jiggy with this shit!
It's literally the difference between taking your time over a 13-year span to get everything right and rushing through production to meet a predetermined release date. Just a little bit more attention to detail, a little bit more time and effort put into the visual effects could mean the world of difference as it pertains to making this movie a bit more memorable. But I suppose if they did that, it wouldn't be a Disney remake, now would it?
Nobody likes a smartass, alright?
Listen, as someone who's seen the original and has been around people who grew up on the original and love it dearly, I could understand why some OG fans might not like this movie. It unapologetically changes quite a bit, and a lot of those changes do feel a bit misguided. Now, if you are a child who has only a passing knowledge of The Little Mermaid, and you're just excited to see some form of this story on the big screen, then I can understand you enjoying it.
For the kids.
There is a massive difference between little kids enjoying this film and adults interjecting themselves and their own insecurities into defending this movie against valid criticism. So if you are one of the people who feel the need to get upset at my opinion, think about that first and at least try to be the bigger person that you should be.
Stop it!
Overall, I have to say, The Little Mermaid isn't the worst Disney remake I've seen. It does inspire feelings of nostalgia at times when it sticks close to the original film. However, the changes that were made to the characters, story, and songs do hold it back quite a bit. It's the classic case of Disney being overconfident and thinking they can improve upon perfection. The original movie worked for a reason, and this movie doesn't work for a multitude of reasons. And that's why I'm going to give it the careless Sam Gerard.
I don't care!
Y'all be cool. Shut up.